What is up, everyone? We are here. It is Kendall and Clay back with a BF film session live. We're on a new day again. We're doing a show on Thursday this time.
I sincerely apologize to all the viewers, keeping you all on your toes.
You know what? It's okay. Yeah, you keep us on our toes sometimes. You know, it's an exciting, it keeps things interesting at least. But yeah, so we're on a new day here. We're going to be doing Thursdays now since we have Wednesday conflict. So we're going to be before the air raid hour instead of before Z-Bot smoke break. But yeah, so let's talk about the game a little bit. I mean, not exactly the result that Bills Mafia was looking for out of that week 1 game. What were your thoughts just even, kind of watching the game?
Well, I only got to watch the first half live, but I got to say the first half, we looked great. Obviously, I mean, offense left a little bit left to be desired, but I mean, we left some points on the table in the first half, but other than that, like, we looked really good. We were dominating that entire first half, and then the second half just kind of, slowly started to slip away from us. It really just felt like we wanted to do what we did last year, and we weren't willing to sacrifice what we did last year. We wanted to be that team again, and we wanted to show that we can beat any team just by being ourselves and not having to adjust to what another team is. And I think this game against the Steelers kind of served the Bills some humble pie and showed them that we need to adjust according to whoever we're playing. We can't just run the same game plan against every team. I don't think that's necessarily what we did, but I think it kind of leans in that direction where we wanted to do what we did best and we weren't going to sacrifice that. And I think the Zach Moss inactive kind of spoke to that, where, we wanted to get Breida in the game and, use a lot more pass looks, pass sets instead of showing any run looks at all. There might have been like 2 run looks all game. One of them might have been that 4th and 1 with Gilliam and Breida, and the other one was probably another one with Gilliam in the game. There really weren't a whole lot of run looks. I really thought I got this Wi-Fi thing fixed. Apparently I didn't. Sincere apologies once again. But yeah, no, those are my thoughts. I mean, it's disappointing, but I think the serving of humble pie will be good for us moving forward. I really think it's better to lose that game week 1 than to figure out this kind of stuff in week 12.
Yeah, definitely. And, that's kind of, it's a good thing to get the bad stuff out of the way early, because we don't have to win week 1. We have to win weeks 18, 19, and 20. So, it's not, these are not the games that are going to be the most important make or break games to us in the season. Hopefully, these at the end of the season aren't make or break games for us. So, it is kind of good to get those woes out of the way. But I agree with you. Watching through that game, it's like we're playing okay. Our offense surely wasn't doing too much, on that side. They couldn't really move the ball effectively, kind of what we were expecting. We were expecting Josh to come out guns a-blazing like we heard about in camp and like we saw in preseason against the Packers. He was looking great. And, so we I think everyone was just expecting him to come out and just be Josh Allen and like that Josh Allen that we saw at the end of last year and that we heard about in the preseason. So I think that was kind of a wake up call to us too, to kind of be like, hey, he is Josh Allen, but he, when facing a good defense, can't always perform at an insane level like he did against all those top 10 defenses last season. And then, kind of going along with the game last year, it felt very similar to the game last year, where it was like, well, nothing's really going for us. We can't really get a drive going. Really, that entire game last year, they only had like one good offensive drive, which felt very similar to Sunday's game. And with with this year's game, the make or break moment of the game was the block punt return for a touchdown.
Yes.
In last year's game, the make or break moment was the Taron Johnson pick six. So if either one of those, if those things flip flop from one side to the other from year to year, that was the deciding factor. It was that one-off odd touchdown play that came, for us on defense, for them on special teams. And I think eventually that is ultimately what led to the wins for either team, because it is such an evenly matched competition between the two. The Bills defense, I thought, played really well. Yeah. And then, of course, we expected to get resistance from that Steelers defense, and resistance is what we got. So
we probably should have expected a little bit more going into the game, considering they're an AFC North team. They'd like to just punch you in the face. That's what the AFC North is. It's old school football. It's defense first, and then a whole lot of running game. And I mean, the Steelers pseudo running game with the quick passing attack. So yeah, we probably should have expected it a little bit more. We probably got caught in our overconfidence, our Bills 2020 hubris, but it is what it is. We move forward, and yeah, like I think all the Bills players have said, you don't lose games, you learn from losses. And I think we're all learning from this loss that, this team is not impervious to anything. Like every team has weaknesses. So we just have to overcome those.
Right. I agree. Let's go through some of the comments. We actually had a guy in here really early, Bill Basner. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Basner. I'm not sure which one it is. But it looked like Josh was running plays that took 2.3 seconds before he would pass, but the Steelers got in the backfield in 2.1 seconds, never allowing him to get through his reads and pass. He followed that up with, maybe we need quicker pass plays. Josh is amazing when he extends the plays, but never had the time. We need to prepare for that. So I agree with that to an extent here. And yeah, we were trying to run quick plays. We were trying to get the ball out as fast as we could. And I think a lot of the play designs that the Bills have are like multiple options. It's an RPO type of a deal where you've got a pass option on either side, or Josh can take it himself, or sometimes you get a pass option on one side and he can hand it off. I think a lot of those are like that. And so a lot of it comes down to, what does Josh want to do pre-snap? And can he make the right decision based on the personnel of what he thinks is going to be the best move to go for after pre-snap? So if he's wrong, which usually if you're wrong, that's fine. You look at your first read and, oh, I was wrong. Let me go to the second read and this guy will be open instead. We just didn't have time to do that. So Josh had no time to drop back and make that second read. And as far as the time he had to throw, we will be addressing that in this film session, certainly, because that was kind of the downfall of the game here, really. Other than that, thank you, Bill, for that question. It's appreciated. Your boy Ben is in here. What's up, Ben? We got Richard Rush. We got Don Keith. I saw Lone Wolf in here as well. The Buffalo Mayor. Which one? Good to see everybody in here. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, do you want to start off and just get right into the film?
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to start with my MVP?
I think I'll have you go first, mostly because I want you to do your LVP first. So I'll have you do your MVP first.
All right. Totally fair. All right. So my MVP was Taron Johnson. Sorry for this overlay. I wish I could figure out how to get rid of it, but we'll get there shortly. Hopefully we'll get there. But yeah, Taron Johnson was my MVP for this game. It took me a few watches through to figure out who exactly I wanted to pick for my MVP, because you picked another defensive player, not to spoil anything else, but it was really tough to pinpoint exactly who else popped on this defense. It's really hard to say anyone on the offense was the MVP from this last week. So I went ahead and I picked Taron Johnson. Clearly he has the Steelers number. There's just something. He understands how Big Ben operates. He understands this offense. He really he knows how to attack this Steelers offense. But yeah, this is really the first play here. It's just a nice run fill. You see a nice counter. Ooh. Hold on. I was on the wrong screen. All right. So we see a nice counter run from the Steelers here, pull across from the right side and their tight end following. And then you see Taron filling that run gap. And then, of course, Trey following. But here it's really all about replacing who's there. You see with the motion of Juju across the formation, you see Tremaine Edmonds, you see Milano, you see both of them follow that motion. And then Taron is left to fill. He navigates through the trash. He doesn't get caught in the trash of the offensive line. and he's just clean to pick up the ball carrier, which is Najee Harris. And I gotta say, we knew that Taron Johnson. Ooh, okay. We knew that Taron Johnson was physical, but this is impressive. This is impressive. He absolutely stopped him in his tracks. And then you see Trey White come in and just pull him back to the turf. So I just thought this was a really impressive run, Phil. We know that this is something that's part of his game, but I thought it was particularly impressive against Najee Harris.
Yeah, I was really impressed with this, and for him to be able to come up and fill like a linebacker would, was really, really impressive. Najee Harris coming into his first NFL game was probably not expecting to get stopped in his tracks by a slot cornerback, but that's what happened, and that's just kind of what Taron Johnson brings to the table, is that aggressiveness, like you said, and that ability. But yeah, I mean, to replace Tremaine Edmonds in the middle of that, when that lineman does a good job of reaching to the second level and taking care of Tremaine, just a really good play. And, if he doesn't make that tackle, we don't know how many more yards he could have gotten out of that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, really good play from him. And I agree that he definitely, as far as, who you picked for your MVP, I think this was definitely a good choice, because he flashed a few times with his aggressiveness and his tackling.
Yeah, it really wasn't just in the run game. He had a couple extra run plays. But I didn't want to fixate too much on that. But I felt like this was the best one. It was just a nice play to get into the spot where he needed to be, and then of course be physical at that point. All right, so this play.
Wait, hold on. Before we move on, let's. We had John DeMarchi in the chat with a super chat. Thank you very much, John DeMarchi. Let's see, 40 plus / 51 times OL blocked without running back or tight end chip help versus NFL's #1 pass rush with left tackle off COVID and right tackle 1v1 with the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Should be NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He lost, right? I can't remember. Yeah. Drop 7, rush 4 versus J17 and dare Buff to run you out of it. New book on Buff. And yeah, so it's definitely a good point to bring up there, is that we didn't chip that much. When we did, I Singletary had a good chip at one point. Knox had a good chip at one point.
Yeah, I got a Knox chip in here.
Yeah, but they didn't do it a lot.
No,
definitely
didn't.
Not as much as they should have. And I mean, the book is out on Buffalo, and I think it's been out now since the AFC Championship game. But it's not an easy book to write, because the book is have a really freaking good front four and destroy the offensive line. Because that's the only way that I think you can do it on a consistent basis, is if you create problems with 4 pass rushers, then that is how you beat Buffalo, because you need to drop everybody else in coverage, or Josh Allen will tear you apart if you blitz him with extra guys. So yeah, the book is out, but you better have those guys ready if you're going to come and do that. But yeah, definitely there was it was an interesting strategy to not help out your guys who, one of them who did have a surprising game last year, Darrell Williams against TJ Watt, played more around where we would expect him to against a guy like that this season. And then, yeah, with Dawkins coming off COVID, we will talk about him. But thank you for that, John. And now we can get back into Taron Johnson here.
Yeah, before I hop back into it, I got to piggyback off what you said. Mm-hmm. It is the book. It's 100% the book on how to defend the Bills offense. If they're not going to run the football, then that's how you do it. You drop 7, you rush 4. But like you said, it's tough to duplicate. Not every team is going to be able to do this. It is a little bit easier because we know the weakest part of this Bills offense is definitely the offensive line, but it's not easy to duplicate. You got to have good pass rushers, and the Steelers have that. And I believe I'll give a shout out here. I believe it's at Mafia Numbers. He's the numbers guy for Cover 1. He posted a little graphic where it showed what the Steelers did last year. And they blitzed like 57, 60% of the time. And this time it was like nothing. Like they didn't blitz at all. So they got away from what they like to do best, Pittsburgh, that is. And they stuck to the blueprint for how to beat the Bills. And like John put it, it's drop 7, rush 4. It's not easy to do, but if you do it, it's going to be effective, and it's going to stymie the Bills offense. And yeah, we saw it. We saw it this past Sunday, and hopefully, hopefully the Dolphins don't duplicate, or even if they do, hopefully the Bills offensive line has some better answers, chips, things like that. There's a lot of different ways that we could combat this and counter it moving forward. But yeah, that's the book. And I think Daboll is very aware of that blueprint being out, and he's going to do everything he can to counter that blueprint.
Absolutely. All right, let's get back into it. Thank you again, John.
Yeah. Thanks, John. All right. So this is actually like one of my favorite plays that I saw in the game. I'll wait for it to pop back up. All right. So Taron Johnson is right here in the slot. All right. And you see Hyde right here in the box. He's going to drop and bail. So is Taron. They're both going to bail out. Jordan Poyer is off the screen around where my cursor is. He's off the screen around where the numbers are. And when they bail out like this, you kind of assume, oh, they're just dropping into a cover 3. But when you wait for Taron Johnson to get back in this picture, he's not dropped into a deep third. When you see this initial drop bailout, you're thinking, okay, he's taking the middle third, he's taking the left third, and Poyer's up there taking the top right third. Taron Johnson just sits in his hook curl zone. He just sits right there in that middle top portion of the field, and they just disguise this coverage perfectly. He bails out like he's going to drop into that deep third, and he just hops right back into his hook zone and, of course, gets his hand on the ball. I just really loved how they disguised this coverage. And then, of course, I mean, if Tremaine made that play, this game could have been different because the Bills were moving the football, but they were struggling to get any sort of movement or efficiency once they crossed midfield. If they got the ball past midfield, we saw it on the opening kickoff return. You get it past midfield, it's pretty much automatic points. It's Bassomatic.
Right.
But, I mean, man, it would have been real nice to make that play and reward Taron for disguising this coverage so well and then also breaking on the catch point the way he did. He was manned up, or I guess man principles in zone on Juju for a lot of this game, and I really liked what he did.
Yeah, I was impressed as well. And, like you said, to be able to disguise that coverage, dropping back like that, and then make a nice play on the ball. If we could have won that tip drill, man, that would have been Legend of Kiko Alonso-esque for Tremaine to make that catch, because that would have been a game changer to even just to get 3 extra points right there. At the end of the game, that would have mattered. So definitely frustrating to see that one go through Edmonds' hands, but it was a great play by Taron there.
Yeah, I think I put it on Twitter. I was like, look, I know people are going to bash Edmonds about this. Like, that is a catchable ball, but I don't know if that's expected.
Yeah, it's a tough catch. If it was someone else, maybe I'd expect, but Edmonds is not the best catcher to begin with. So
right. Like, I think I'd probably still credit this as a dropped interception.
Mm-hmm.
It's really borderline, but I'm not necessarily expecting him to make that play.
Right.
So
right.
It's just tough. I think we all wanted to see him make that play, but really all around, everyone's doing their 111th here. That just would have been the cherry on top.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a play I tossed in here, obviously, because it's Taron Johnson and he's making a nice play on the ball here, but he's manning up Eric Ebron. And this whole offseason, we were like, we need a tight end defender. We need to defend the tight ends. And Taron did it on this play. I think this is a goal line man coverage here. And you see the safeties obviously near the goal line. They don't really have anyone to occupy. So they're just staying in their zones near the goal line, taking away anything easy in the middle of the field. But Taron, you see him just mirror matching Ebron really well. You'll see him pop out of the screen at the tail end of this. But he sticks to Ebron real nicely here. And then this is a high pass. Mm-hmm. And he gets up there and he disrupts the catch point. On the replay here, you'll see much better angle. Just mirror match. He's all over him. He's sticky. He's not letting him get off of him. You see the push off there, but he's still right there, jumps to the catch point and gets his hand up right into the hands of Ebron and makes a play on the ball. I don't know about you, but I think I'm about ready to crown Taron red zone Taron, because he makes plays in the red zone. I don't know what it is, but he's much better with a condensed field.
I think that's probably true. And that probably helps him too in the slot. When you've got a condensed field, there's less places for your guy to go. So it might help him out a little bit. But yeah, really good play here. The way he played the ball was really good, stuck with his man. And then, yeah, when the ball came his way, he answered. So yeah, I really liked his game. There was even a play that you didn't put in here that I'll mention. And that was, it was a screen pass. It looked like I think it was a tunnel screen, where he like saved the day on this tunnel screen, where
I remember that. Yep.
Where is Levi Wallace came screaming down the line of scrimmage, and got pushed right out of the way. I can't remember who it was that caught it, but Taron Johnson definitely saved a touchdown with that play as well. I'm pretty sure that's who it was, and made a nice tackle there. So he definitely had a good game, and was one of those guys that really popped.
For sure. He definitely had a good game. So hopefully he can keep stacking those, because I think he's in a contract year. So it's going to be very interesting how the Bills evaluate this entire season from Taron. We know he's going to be motivated.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because if he performs, I mean, we've seen him make the big plays. So if he can perform on a consistent level, then yeah, we might have a guy right there. All right, let's move on to my MVP. And I know that we've talked about a couple of guys so far for who are the best guys on defense. I think someone said Edmonds had a really good game as well. Milano, people said Milano had a good game. But for me, it was Ed Oliver. And he was
no question,
absolute beast in this game. He was running through everybody. I'm going to start here with this was a good run stuff from him. And so I'll have to put it in slow motion because it happens pretty fast. But the way that he's able to penetrate into the backfield immediately on that first rep, he's bench pressing 51 right off of him. And he's saying, we're going to hang out in the backfield today. This was an early rep as well, early on in the game. He's really setting the tone here, being physical, press off, long arm, make the tackle. I showed a play like this that Rousseau kind of made in the game as well. It's even harder when you're inside to do that type of a thing, and when you're not as long. And that's exactly what Oliver does here. Just kind of a real show of the strength. This is the Oliver that we've been wanting to see. It's just get in there, be a big, strong dude, shove that guy into the backfield and make the tackle. And that's exactly what he does here.
I've been making the comparisons for him, even though it's not fair to Ed, but I've been saying it since he got drafted. The comparisons, his lofty ceiling is Aaron Donald. His get off is similar. His power at the point of attack is similar. You see it on this play. This is the ceiling. He gets off the ball first. I mean, obviously you see Jerry kind of, cheat the snap a little bit.
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't get called on that, honestly.
There were a lot of weird refereeing calls this entire game. But you see him pretty much first off the snap there, and he just dominates Trey Turner off the snap. Do you see that point of attack? He just bull rushes him back. What is that? 3-4 yards into the backfield. And because of that, he forces Harris to go inside of him, and he stacks and sheds. That's all you can ask. Good get off, good rush off the point of attack, get into the backfield, good penetration, and then you shed that blocker and make the play. He did everything you could ask for. If he continues playing at this level, I don't think anyone should continue talking about their Ed Oliver disappointments, because, I mean, yes, he hasn't lived up to first round, whatever he was, overall 9th pick, but he's close. Like, he was always close. It was just, putting it all together. It's kind of like a golf game, sometimes you got your driver game going, you can't really get it going on the greens. That's Ed Oliver. And hopefully this year he can get the whole game going together in one cohesive unit.
Absolutely, yeah, and we heard, like Leslie Frazier said, he has the chance to break out, and I think he's ready. I think he's fully ready to be the guy that we want him to be, and that's exciting because he can be an absolute beast. And just as a side note, the ball's supposed to go through one of the outside gap, the gap that's outside of him.
For sure.
So for him to just completely blow up the play right from the snap, and then to allow Epinesa to be involved in the play from the backside because he's doing his job too. That's just a really good play.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to this next one here. Yeah, this is another rep where he's just kind of I really wish we had an end zone angle of this one because this is so good. I'll try to slow it down so maybe we can see it a little better. But there's a guy standing up in the frame, and the next time we see him, he's on his butt. And that was the guy that was supposed to be blocking Ed Oliver. I think it's Trey Turner again.
Yeah,
but yeah, you can see they're about to go head to head. He's right here. He tries to go low and he ends up on the ground here. So he pretty much just got run through on this play. And I remember watching this play because Ed Oliver stood up and started smacking his helmet and he's all hyped up. And honestly, yeah, because you just ran through a massive dude and made a great tackle in the backfield on this play. Epinesa also doing a good job of getting into the backfield. So there's nowhere for Najee Harris to go on this play. But yeah, Ed really made his name known after these two plays and let everyone know that he's here to stay.
I think the most the most impressive part of this play to me is that this is an outside zone to the opposite side of the formation from where Ed is, and he blows it up. He gets across the formation quickly. You see the center trying to get out quickly, get to the second level. You see him on Edmonds there. But once Ed sees that center get out quickly and try to get to the second level, you can see him just try and absolutely penetrate into the backfield. And he does it swiftly and just without any resistance. Trey Turner's just on his ass. He's on the turf as quick as the ball was snapped. So once again, he's putting another feather in the cap for quick get off, powerful point of attack. He's doing it all. He's putting it all together and creating a nice repertoire of not moves, but just traits. He's putting all of those traits together and showing what his full potential and ability can be.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, to have that kind of a guy, and these were both run defense plays. So to have that when we kind of struggled with that last year is going to be huge. Yeah. This next play here, I wanted to get one pass rush rep in, and this one, it looks like it's almost a little bit of a switch between Zimmer and Oliver, where he kind of sneaks inside underneath Zimmer here, and it just gets there so fast. He's in the backfield, he's between you, and he's at the quarterback like in no time. Just the speed that he's able to do it was really impressive. He gets there, he hits Ben, forces a throw that maybe is a little bit off of where it should have been. Was he not there? So just another really good rep here of just getting into the backfield as fast as you can. He was playing like his hair was on fire, man. He was just insane.
Yeah, this third downs, passing downs, this is when you have to confuse a new offensive line. You see the Steelers had a bunch of young guys. Trey Turner's new there. They're not going to be a cohesive unit yet. They don't exactly have all the communication set up yet to, be able to pass off switches and stunts like this. And you see Zimmer and Oliver doing a really quick stunt in the interior there. And Kendrick Green can't really pick up Oliver once Turner drops him off for him. You see Zimmer occupy him just long enough. I mean, as great as this play was by Ed, Zimmer did a great job by occupying Kendrick Green, their center. And he occupies him just long enough to let Ed sneak right through there. And Ed he fights through all the shoulders and the trash in that interior, and he gets in the backfield quickly. I still don't know how that ball wasn't picked off. It was a floater and a half. But
I was so mad that he didn't look back. But
yeah, that's one of those ones where it's like, Levi, please turn your head around. I like how he kind of keeps his eyes on the wide receiver's hands. I do like that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But hindsight 2020, this is the one. Please turn your head around. That's the one.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not the right move to turn around because you can lose the guy behind you, but sometimes it is. And I think he needs to find the right balance for that. But yeah, Zimmer too was another guy who had a good game. I think he was playing pretty well through the most part. There were a couple times where I was looking around. I was like, was that Ed? No, that was Zimmer. That was a good play from him. But yeah, so just very exciting, honestly, to see Ed Oliver playing like that. And I hopefully he can stay like that against a line that maybe is a little bit better when he faces someone that's a little more in tune with their center and their tackle next to him. How can he do then? So I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah, I got to say it's going to be exciting to see them play an offense that isn't getting the ball out so quickly. Give them a real opportunity to get after the quarterback, because I think that's what we all want to see. I think everyone was a little bit disappointed after seeing how disruptive the Bills defensive line was this entire preseason. So it was definitely kind of underwhelming from that perspective. But we didn't get a great sample for what we wanted to see. So hopefully we get it this week with a RPO style offense with the Dolphins. Hopefully, Tua doesn't make quick decisions like wily vet Ben Roethlisberger. So yeah, hopefully we get some of that.
Yeah, and like JC Jackson said, if Tua doesn't have his first read, he just throws it up. And it's a little bit of a salty comment, but it's also not that far from the truth.
It's kind of true.
Yeah, it's not that far off. So yeah, we'll have to see if that first read's not there, if Ed can get there, and then if Ed can get there, or either one of the edge rushers who we've got about 4 that can rush effectively. So I'm excited to see what that defensive line can do.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited to see them get another crack at it with a fair shake.
All right, enough talking about all these guys that played well. Let's talk about who played like shit.
Oh boy, I think we all know what's coming. It's Mr. Feliciano. Shout out Sports Rock, Ryan Sullivan. He called it a while back. I think a lot of us were a little closeted when the Bills re-signed Feliciano, and we all kind of, not all of us, but some of us held back our true opinions because we didn't want to get roasted on the internet. Ryan kept it real. Ryan told us how he felt about Feliciano, and I got to say, I think Ryan's right. I think Feliciano he's a starter in the NFL, but it's a fringe starter. Like he could absolutely be usurped by the next man. Like for all we know, Butker could take his job next week. It really seems like it could be that close, but enough speculation. I'll show you the plays. So yeah, he wasn't great here, and we know who dominated him in this game. It was Mr. Cam Hayward. Really the whole game, what happened the entire game was just Hayward was countering Feliciano's punches so well. You see a one-handed punch there with Feliciano's right arm, and he just swims it out of the way and gets right around him. And it happened all game. All game, he would just step up to him, punch, and Hayward would just go right around it. I mean, I'm pretty sure we got flagged for a hold on this play, and I'm sure they declined it because, of course, the fumble happened. But yeah, it leaves a lot more to be desired. I gotta say, as much as we want to see more from Feliciano, it's a tough matchup. Cam Hayward ate us up last year in our game against Pittsburgh, and he did it again. Like it's not an easy matchup for Feliciano, so we got to give him that. But it's still tough. Leaving him one-on-one like that all game, it was really tough. And you see how much respect the Bills' offensive line has for TJ Watt, because they're all sliding. They leave Dawkins on an island, and they all slide to the right to make sure that there's help for Watt. Because if I think that's Wormley next to Watt, if he goes inside a little bit, Morse is going to take him, and then Ford's going to help out with Watt if Watt makes an inside move. So really the whole game plan from the offensive line was, in terms of protection, it was just make sure TJ Watt doesn't blow up this game. And it's kind of unfortunate considering how well Darrell Williams did last year against TJ Watt. I kind of would have liked to see him get another crack at it, even if he failed. I mean, like he does on this play, he gets beat on this play, but it's like by doing that, you're exposing the other parts of your offensive line, and you saw Feliciano get exposed all game. One quick note on this play, you can see it right here. I'll pause it. You can see Sanders sit right there in the flat, or not in the, on the over ball. He's like 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. I know Josh wants to extend the play and get more out of it, but sometimes you just got to take what the defense gives you. And when you're pressured like this, you just got to get the ball out. Like you see him think about it right there, and he's just like, no, I'm going to do something more with it. So just kind of upsetting. Yeah,
and it is a really tough matchup. Cam Hayward is a really good defensive lineman, and we've seen Feliciano in the AFC Championship game. We saw how bad he did against Chris Jones there as well. And This is probably going to be the hardest matchup for him until we play the Chiefs again. And I'm telling you, I'm really not happy already for what's going to happen in that game, knowing that Feliciano is going to have to go up against Jones again. I'm not excited for that. So, I think Feliciano can play fine against an average to, lower tier defensive tackle. He can do okay. He can hold his own, but against a guy like this, against those top tier guys, he just doesn't stand a chance most of the time. Right. And that's really frustrating.
Yeah, that's the long and short of it. He's going to be sufficient. He's going to be adequate, but will he be more? And I think that's why a lot of people wanted an upgrade at that position over the offseason. But, here we are. We got to wait, and we got to make do with what we got. All right, so moving on to the next play for John Feliciano. More of the same, one-on-one with Hayward, and he just gets caught off balance again. That's the problem here. It's just like they're being taught to meet whatever shade technique the Steelers line up in, and you see Hayward is just slightly on the inside shoulder of Feliciano. So Feliciano tries to go step, meet him there, and the second he makes that step to the inside, Hayward swims and goes to the outside. And at that point, Feliciano's off balance. That's
just terrible, man. When you're an offensive lineman and you're getting pancaked, that is never a good look.
No.
And it forces Josh to throw it earlier than he wants to. And, he still should have made the throw, but he kind of is jumping backward because
you
Feliciano
can tell he's
falling.
Impacted by it.
Yeah,
look at his arm angle. Like you can see the whole thing. It's impacted by that.
He's actively pulling back his front plant foot because he's afraid of getting hit by his lineman who is being thrown at his feet. So, that's never a good thing. And he's always had issues, with his ability to keep his balance or anchor, really, I guess. He doesn't really have that ability to just anchor and stick himself into the ground. And he stuck himself into the ground there, but not the way that we were really looking for.
Yeah, I got to speak on this. I see you, Chris E. Sorry. Feliciano always, I don't know if that meant to be always or also, lost weight when not asked to, and I think that's going to be bad. Mm-hmm. It really could prove to be bad. However, I think it gets exposed in a game like this when you're playing a nose tackle like Cam Hayward, who has quicks for his strength and size. He's got the best of both worlds when it comes to nose tackles. So you're going to get exposed when you're playing a nose tackle of this caliber. So you got to keep that in mind. It's not always going to be this difficult for Feliciano, but I do think if he had a little bit more power and a little less mobility, he might have stuck in there a little bit better, because if he wasn't so quick to get to the inside shoulder, he might have been able to recover because he wouldn't have gotten as far to his right. So it all is part of the equation. It's all part of the formula, but I think it showed. It really showed that he didn't have as much power in his punch. He really didn't. And I mean, this is Exhibit A.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw that on the replay. I don't remember seeing it when I was watching it live, but I remember when I watched it on the replay, I just, I had to stop for a second because that's just embarrassing.
Not great. Well, we'll move on to the next one so we can
embarrass him some more.
Yeah, don't worry. The next one is the last one for Feliciano, and then we can move on to, a little bit lighter things, or at least I guess to your LVP. But another shift over to the right here. You see it again. Entire offensive line other than Dawkins and Feliciano are shifting to the right, and Feliciano once again left on an island with Hayward, and he just gets tossed aside. It's just the handwork by Hayward was way too much for Feliciano to handle. He couldn't handle it the entire game. Like there were plays here and there where he was anchoring him, but he was anchoring him like 4 yards in the backfield. So if his best play is anchoring someone 4 yards in the backfield, it's a bad day. But this one's particularly bad because you just see how technical Hayward gets with it. Yes, there's athletic ability here, but you see the hand usage and just how he's using his hands to just kind of shed this blocker right here. And it's really well done. It's really well done. And Feliciano just really looks out of place here. So there's not much more I can say. I don't want to rag on this guy too much because he is a Buffalo Bill. He is our starting left guard, and I do have confidence that he can bounce back against a lesser opponent. But, I mean, he's not always going to have the luxury of playing average defensive tackles. He's going to have to step up to his competition at some time. And, he's got to learn before he gets up to Chris Jones level. So yeah, here's to hoping.
Yeah. And I'm a victim of the it can't get any worse fallacy, where it's like, can we try someone else there? Like, what could really be any worse? Can we put Bucker there? Who's going to be able to block somebody really in that position? And he might still be better than every other guard on that roster, and that's tough. Yeah. Playing guards, it's a hard position to do, and he's getting worked around, but at the same time, he's an NFL player. I'm not going to make excuses for the guy. He had a really bad game. He could have a good game. He could have a good game next week. He could have a good next 6 games for all I know. But this was a really bad game from him. And after watching him in the AFC Championship and how the impact that he had on that game in a negative fashion, I'm not going to make excuses for the guy. I have no fear in criticizing him. He can, if he ends up seeing anything that we say, that's fine. So be it. He knows he had a crappy game. So we it's. Sorry,
I'm still rooting for the guy, but I mean, you gotta call it how you see it, and it wasn't a good game, and I'm sure he's the first to admit it. He probably just doesn't want to hear it from anyone other than himself. So, I saw you tweet about the Quentin Spain pancake. Yeah, it definitely hurts. There's definitely some underlying thing going on there with the Quentin Spain release that happened last year. But
yeah, I don't know what happened with that, but it just hurts. And Wyatt Teller too. I mean, I don't think anyone knew what Wyatt Teller was going to be, and even if we kept him,
except for like Tremaine Edmonds, maybe because they were teammates.
Yeah,
in college,
yeah, exactly. But and then maybe if we kept him, he wouldn't have panned out to be the guy that he is today. So we don't know. We have no idea. But the Quentin Spain thing, he was one of the better guards on the team. So that's one that I still to this day, fishy. Yeah, I still to this day do not understand why he wasn't on the field. And then understandably, he was upset when he wasn't on the field and they cut him. It was just a really fishy situation, and it wasn't handled very well by management there. So yeah, it's tough to see. A couple of the comments here. Yeah. Cody Ford, I thought played fine. He had a couple plays. Maybe it was like,
when you're evaluating him relative to the rest of the offensive line, it was a good day. It really was. Like because the name of the game with offensive linemen is you don't want to notice them. And the fact that I only noticed Cody Ford once or twice compared to noticing Feliciano 8 times, Dion Dawkins 9 times, Darrell Williams 7 times, Cody Ford had a good day. So I don't think it was world beating or anything like that. It's not Pro Bowl caliber, but he had a good day. So there's no reason. I'm not going to put him as my MVP. I'm not going to put him as my LVP or even biggest surprise, but he had a good day. It was sufficient. He did his 111th.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he played fine. I was surprised, honestly, that he was getting subbed out for Booker and not Feliciano, because Feliciano was clearly the one that was struggling more so. So strange. It could be a mentality thing because Josh and John are friends. It's tough. That makes it even harder that those two guys have a good relationship and that he's, a personality in the locker room. It makes it that much harder to take a guy like that out. But, maybe he needs that kind of a wake up call at this point. Yeah. But then again, it could be worse. I don't know. All right, let's move on here to who I thought the LVP was, and that was Dion Dawkins. And this was a little bit of a surprise, but also maybe not so much. The guy was on his deathbed like 3 weeks ago. So it's somewhat understandable that maybe he wasn't in the best physical condition to be competing here. Even still, I have to talk about it because it wasn't a good game. Before I get into it too much, we got John DeMarchi with another super chat. Thank you, John. Guys, watch Ford on that last Hayward highlight you just ran. You want to pull that up again real quick?
Yeah, I can do that. I literally just watched it because I saw him type it in.
I divided by 0. Sorry.
All right. So you see him. Let me get it on this screen. You see him right here. And I always do this. Got to click this screen, man. It's new. Now I'm controlling the video. So you see him. This is exactly what I was talking about, where they're kind of sliding over to TJ. if that left guard or that left defensive tackle goes inside, Morse picks him up, and then Ford goes over to help out Darrell Williams. You see, obviously, Singletary get that chip in, get him off balance, and then Ford finishes
Everybody's hitting Watt on that play.
That's a beautifully designed pass protection right there. Like that's how you do it. The problem is it's 111th. Everyone's got to do their 111th. And when you see Dawkins does his job there, but Feliciano gets pushed back. What is that, 4 or 5 yards? And then obviously gets swiped across. But no, it really is that is a great play by Ford. He's doing exactly what he's asked to do, playing inside the scheme.
That's one of the better parts about being a guard too. Is sometimes you just get to find work like that. And sometimes that means going and hitting a dude that's already getting blocked and putting him on his ass. And that's fun. So,
but because Watt was on the other side of the formation, Feliciano couldn't do that all game. Part of the scheme was he wasn't looking for work. Work was coming to him and he had to like get after it right off the snap. So yeah, it was a tough day for him. He was definitely putting a bind.
Yeah. That was, I thought that was a good rep, and good on Josh on that rep too, as well, to get around the Cam Hayward there. And that was 4th and 10 in a critical situation at the end of the game. And he completed that pass on the sideline there. So that was good. Thank you, John, for chiming in and for noticing that one for us. All right. Back to Dion Dawkins here. Dion did not have a good game. I'm just going to start playing it already here. This was super early in the game, and he just gets completely olayed here by what's his name? Ingram?
Melvin Ingram, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I always get Melvin Ingram and Melvin Gordon confused, and I'm always afraid I'm going to say the wrong name. But anyway, Melvin Ingram here, I mean, that's rough. He puts his head down, and then just kind of gets a little swim move is all it takes, and that play's pretty much dead in the water. I mean, Singletary actually makes something of it, which is pretty incredible that he was able to actually get positive yardage out of something like that. But yeah, this was rough, and this was early, like I said, so early on in the game, and we're already having mistakes like this. That one hurts. So yeah, it didn't get much better, and it's as simple as he just missed. It was just a bad rep. So I don't know. Did you see anything else?
No, that is what it is. But it's becoming a trend where this kind of like the Bills are trying to go meet the point of attack, and the Steelers defenders are olaying them, like you said. They're using their hands nicely to not shed the block, but just kind of throw the block aside. You know, it's like wherever that punch is coming from, they just quickly toss it aside and get right around it. And that's kind of the problem here. It's like you saw with Feliciano in the clips I showed before, and you see it right here again with Dawkins. Like, yes, you want your offensive linemen to go after the point of attack. You want them to be hungry and you want them to go after it. But if you're over aggressive like this and you take too decisive of steps, then it makes it a lot easier for the defender. You see him kind of set it up to the outside, and then he just quickly jukes and swims him to the inside. So, yeah, it was a trend. It was really a trend all game. You saw the Bills' offensive line trying to meet them at the point of attack instead of kind of let the point of attack come to them. And I understand that's probably a coaching point, but when you're getting beat on it all game, it's just tough to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, Singletary, I think made a really good play, made a nice cut. So it was good to see him make something out of that. But yeah, it's tough to watch something like that where it's a head shaker.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. This was I wanted to get a couple different pass rush. So here's just a straight power, and let's call it COVID for now, because I really don't want to think that this is who Dion Dawkins is. I've never seen Dion Dawkins play like this before, where he's not able to anchor. He'll get pushed back sometimes, but he usually knows how to stop himself, and he can get into a good stance and stop that guy, but he just can't do it here. And his weight is high. Melvin Ingram's got the leverage as soon as he makes contact with him, and he just drives him back right into Josh. I mean, Josh barely has any time. This is another one that I put on Twitter. Josh is back of his drop. He's just coming off of his first read right now at the back of his drop. and look at like the pocket collapsing around him already. He doesn't have any time to do anything here. And that kind of goes back to what Bill was saying in those comments early on in the show here, is that we were running plays that we could have got if we just had a little bit of extra time. And like, I can't even blame Josh at all on this one, because his first read wasn't open and he just didn't have any time to do anything else. So he just had to get rid of it. It still almost completed the pass. So yeah, this one was just another rough rep where it's like, what can you do if you're Josh Allen? What can you do in this situation? You can't really do anything.
No, you can't. I'll put my 2 cents into this. I literally have 2 things to say on this. The Bills have been beat up by Melvin Ingram multiple times in his past couple of years with the Chargers. For whatever reason, like it wasn't always Bosa that was getting to them. It was always Ingram. I don't know what it is, but this dude, he just knows how to push the buttons of this offensive line. Ingram just, I don't know. He knows how to get into the backfield against the Bills, and he's done it multiple times before, not just wearing a Steelers uniform, but he had quite the game this past week. You really do want to see him anchor at some point. And like you said, yeah, for now it's the COVID excuse, but that's just going to continue to dwindle, and there's not going to be excuse left. My last point on this is I really want Josh to take what the defense gives him. Mm-hmm. I recognize he had no time to do anything other than his first read, but when the camera pans and you see the ball trickle to the 30-yard line, there is no one 10 yards in front of Isaiah McKenzie at the top of the screen on that route. No. And it's not like this is even his third read. Like, that's probably like the absolute
that's a last resort play.
But this is a trend I've noticed with Josh Allen for 3 years now. And there are 2 things really left in his development, and it's not fumbling the football, and it's taking what the defense gives you, because he seemingly refuses to check the ball down. But when he does, good things happen. He doesn't always trust his wide receivers to get yak, but when he gives them the opportunity, they almost always come through. So that's kind of just like a tangent of mine with Josh Allen. I do just want to see him check the ball down a little bit more. I mean, when we grew up with people like Trent Edwards, and we were like, stop fucking checking the ball down so much. But when you're always going for the shot plays, you sometimes you just need to get in the right down and distance and stay in front of the chains instead of behind them.
Yeah, and I do want to mention it seems like he could have come off this earlier. It seems like he could have come off his first read earlier. And I know Lone Wolf mentioned that as well. He's saying, he could have come off. He could have gotten the ball to Sanders here. And I do think that's what he was going for. I think he was going for, my first read's not there, get it to Sanders, and there just wasn't quite enough time to do it. Mm-hmm. This is another reason why I wish we had the all 22, because it's a 5-step drop out of shotgun. He's doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the back out of shotgun already. So it's like a 7-step drop play. So I'm assuming the first read was a very long developing route, and he didn't know if it was going to be open until he hit that back step of his drop. That's my assumption here. I don't know. I'm sort of making excuses for him. He definitely could have broken off of that first read sooner once he saw the pressure in his face. But I think you're right. He did want a little bit more. So he didn't break off that read quite when he should have, based on the pressure, and that kind of engulfed him. But that pressure was there really fast too. So it's, could he have done better? Yes, he could have done better on this play, but it's still one of those plays where it's like, in order to make that play, you got to think pretty damn quick. Yeah, no, we're definitely asking for a lot more than what most human beings could even do. So right,
just being hypercritical after a loss.
Yeah, it's very tough. All right. One more from Dawkins, and I want to show a speed rush as well. This one is just, it's just silly. I mean, he gets beat on the speed rush, and he says, well, I don't think so. I'm just going to tackle you. I mean, like, I get that you're trying to protect your quarterback and everything, but he's downfield from you and he's low too. Just put both your hands on him, and I don't know if he just doesn't feel quick enough to be able to push that guy upfield or what it is, but he's just not at the point where he's able to stop this guy at all or push him in any direction. He's at the point where he just says, well, if I don't hold this guy, then we're screwed. And it's a bad hold too. It's one of the most obvious holds of the game. Oh my
really. God, I
know. Like I said, he's basically tackling the guy. So the flag, you see the flag on the field in this clip. He did get flagged for this, obviously. But yeah, I mean, nothing. He got beat both ways. Is basically what I'm trying to say. He got beat with the power. He got beat with the speed, and his solution for both usually was holding.
Yep.
So he got called for a few. He probably could have got called for a few more, to be honest. When you go back and look at some of them, but it was a really rough day for him. And yeah, I really hope that we can just say that. I really just hope that we can say that this was COVID and that he doesn't feel 100% yet. And maybe if he feels closer to 100%, maybe his confidence level's a little bit better and he can start playing a little bit smarter and playing a little bit lower too, because his shoulder, his pad height was a little bit too high this game.
Yeah, it was the whole game. He just looked off like this. We only picked 3 plays from each Feliciano and Dawkins, but both of them had at least 6 blown blocks this game. Like we actually had to pick 3 out of like 6 plays for each of them. And I texted you. I was like, look, I have like 8 plays that I could pick from Feliciano. Should I only do 3? And like, it's how this game went. What I will say on the other side of this, Highsmith is a real player. People aren't talking about him. He flashed a lot in this game.
He did. And I don't know if
Highsmith is legit. No, he's legit. He was good last year. He got a chance, I believe, because Bud Dupree went down and Devin Bush went down. So he kind of played a hybrid off-ball and edge defender role. And yes, this is very illegal. But yeah, no, Highsmith is a real player. So I'll give him that much of an excuse, Dawkins. But it's still not good. Yeah, you got to push him upfield. Like you commended him, I believe, earlier this offseason with how good he is at allowing players to get to the edge and then just continuing to push them downfield. And that's exactly what he should have done right there. Yeah. It's just upsetting to see him just kind of lose his foundation, his fundamentals. Like that's what you've been so good with. You know, you bait them around that edge and then you just push them further upfield. But you know, it was just a bad day for the offensive line. We're nitpicking, right? I don't want to say we're nitpicking, but like there's just a lot. There's a lot to evaluate when it comes to how the Steelers went against our offensive line. But at the end of the day, they just executed better. And I don't think it was a scheme thing necessarily. I don't think it was like a personnel thing per se. It's just they were better. They were better on Sunday than we were in the trenches, at least on that side of the ball. We dominated their offensive line on the other side of the ball. It was just, you know, the offensive lines didn't play well on Sunday, but unfortunately our offensive line played a little bit worse. Or, you know what I should say, our offensive scheme didn't lend itself to masking our deficiencies on our offensive line the same way Pittsburgh offensive line got masked in that way.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And, you know, that's Pittsburgh's offense didn't play well either. I think Big Ben was like one of the worst rated quarterbacks this week. And I agree because he didn't play well because the Bills did a good job. They forced him to throw the ball early, which is kind of what their scheme is anyway. But a lot of the times when they forced him to throw early, they were there in coverage too. So the defense I thought did fine. And that offensive line just really struggled, and it was rough. I'm hoping that's our worst game from an offensive line perspective, since we had 3 guys there that really were not playing very well. And you know, to your point, you were like, do I have to do only 3 plays? And it was the same for me. I had about 5 or 6 plays that I could have put in for Dawkins, but I had to narrow it down to 3. And when you've got 2 guys on your offensive line that have plays that many noteworthy bad plays, that's definitely not good.
No, less than ideal.
Yes, yeah.
All right, we'll try to get a little bit more positive here, and we'll move along a little quicker since we don't have...
one guy, I'm going back to negative after.
Really, you are? Oh, that's tough. Well, all right. I'll give you guys... No.
A little bit of positive here.
Yeah, exactly. We'll give you some positive here. So, I'm going to say Dawson Knox is my biggest surprise. I don't know if surprise is the right word. I like how he played. I thought he proved people wrong with how he played, and I just liked it, and I think we should highlight it a little bit. So on this first play, this is very reminiscent of like his angry runs back in against the Bengals in his rookie year. But this is a lot of kind of what I'm talking about with Josh Allen. It's just like, okay, you make your read, you have time in the pocket, then you dump it off.
This was an amazing play from Josh, especially since it's 3rd and 10. He had a little bit of time. Sorry to interrupt, but you made me go off on this tangent here. But yeah, he had a little bit of time in the pocket. He looked through his reads. He knew where his dump off guy was, and he hit him. So that was a really, really good play. I was very, very happy with this one. Yeah,
but this is exactly what I want from him. The problem is you're not always going to have the time to do this. You can see him. You can visibly see how he's going through his reads. All right, left, right. Nope, nothing's there. I know I have 2 guys in the flat, one on one side, one on the other. All right, I'll take this guy. And then he needs to allow his receivers to get the yak because they can. They all can. They can all get the yak after the play, and we know Dawson Knox can. If there's anyone that can get yards after the catch, it's Dawson Knox. He runs angry. He gets all the yards he can, and he falls forward after contact because he's such a big dude and he has so much momentum behind him. But I also want to highlight nice little chip here on Watt. Would have been nice to do a lot more of that this game. Yep. And that's kind of where that's where I had a little bit left to be desired with this offensive scheme. I wanted to see Dawson Knox on the field a little bit more.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the field enough for me in this game. And I felt like the Bills offense was doing better when we had a tight end on the field and we forced them to play 2 linebackers because they had a lot of plays with only one linebacker on the field and 3 safeties.
Yeah. And it's I appreciate that Dable likes to mix it up and he likes to do different things, but it felt like he wasn't really substituting guys in and out much each offensive drive. They would, for most of the drive, it'd be the same personnel set or the same type of thing where he's got 5 receivers in, but one of them is Isaiah McKenzie and he's lining up in the backfield. Or he's got Devin Singletary in for this drive, or he's got Matt Breida in for this drive, and he wouldn't really substitute those guys mid drive, which I wasn't really a big fan of because it limits you in your play calling ability for each of those drives. And sure, it's maybe you have a bunch of stuff that you can do out of that, but there's still things that you can't do out of it. So the way Brian Dable describes how an offensive system should be is it should be as simple as possible, but no simpler. And I don't think he's abiding by his own rules here. I think he's making it way more complicated than he needs to be. I think it can be a lot more simple than what he's doing. And I think that ended up, he kind of shot himself in the foot a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're echoing my sentiments for sure. I wish you would mix it up just a tad, but yeah, that's all I'm asking for. Just a little bit, just a little sprinkle of what you don't like to do, just to keep defensives honest.
Right.
I don't think this. We'll see what the play is. I'll let it run through. Yeah, this is the play. Okay, so this is another one that could have gone in the Feliciano LVP tape, but it ends up in the Dawson Knox tape because he makes a great play on it. But this play is made by Josh Allen and Dawson Knox. You see Feliciano get beat right off the snap, pancaked once again, and Josh Allen buys a little bit of time, fading to his right, and then that's all arm strength to get it 10 yards down the field across his body. And then Dawson Knox, I'll show it to you on the other side of this. This is a nice grab. It's not clean. You can see it on the slow-mo. It's definitely not the cleanest. You see him kind of pin it in his groin a little bit, but he makes a play. And that's really all that counts.
He makes the catch.
That's really all that matters. So
and he had a hand on him too. Terrell Edmonds is right there on him. So.
So yeah, no, it's I understand we're all getting a little impatient with the Dawson Knox stuff, but he showed improvement this game, and I think the key to this game was he was consistent. There wasn't anything flashy. There wasn't anything that popped negative or positive. He did his job. He made the catches that were thrown his way, and he got the yards that were readily available to him.
Yeah, I think this is fine from Dawson Knox. If he goes out and does what his job is and, performs, at an even average ability, just kind of does what he's supposed to do, catch the ball on the pass too. He caught the ball and got the first down on the last one. He's just doing what he needs to do. And it's as simple as that. And that's all I'm asking of Dawson Knox at this point.
Hey, I think he's on target for, what did he have? 4 catches for 45 yards or something like that.
I don't know. I honestly didn't look at the stats.
I know he had 4 catches. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how many yards he had, but he's on track for that
pretty good
500
pace.
yard season. Like, that's all we need. That's all we want. So
honestly, yeah,
it's not like we need a Kels with 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns or anything like that. But this is a step in the right direction. So I wanted to make sure we took note of it. This next play, though, really simple, quick play. And it's, once again, Josh taking the defense, taking what the defense gives him. And that's why I like this play. But the reason I like it in terms of Dawson Knox is we heard him talk about how sometimes you can run a route too quickly. This offseason, he spoke about how you can run a route too quickly. And if you get open too fast, the quarterback won't see you in time when you're open, and you'll play yourself out of your read and the timing of the read. And you see him kind of slow game this little curl, stick route, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of the field. He identifies where the soft spot in the zone is, and then he just sits down right in front of Joe Schobert right there at, what is that, the 33-yard line, and he makes a play. Once again, just doing his job. That's all you need to do as a tight end. You got to make the blocks that you're assigned to make. You got to make the catches that are readily available to you, and that's what he did on this play. So nothing crazy, once again, but this is a step in the right direction. This is him showing improvement. You heard him, like I said, run routes too quickly, but you can see him putting and applying what he worked on this offseason and applying it to the game. And that's really why I like this play a lot.
Yeah, I don't even really have anything to add to that. He's patient with his route. He gets open. He does his job. That's what we need from a guy like Knox. And even if I think we had someone else, even if we had Zach Ertz, I don't think he could have done anything in this game that would have changed it at all. Maybe he gets one more block. He gets one more chip block, but even still, we didn't call enough chip blocks. So that's the thing is, everyone's calling, oh, we need Zach Ertz, we need Zach. I don't think we do. I think it's Dawson Knox can do everything that he needs to do in this offensive system for us to be successful. So, I was also very, very pleasantly surprised at what Dawson brought to the table this game.
All right, we'll move on to your.
All right. I saw a comment that I do want to bring up. And it's what do we think about the white pick being called back? First of all, there was offensive holding on that play from their left tackle. He was holding Jerry Hughes. It was very obvious. It was right in front of the referee, and it should have gotten called. And I don't really think it was holding. It was pretty ticky-tack to call it a holding call on Tre'Davious White. They were right at about the 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. They were kind of hand fighting with each other a little bit. And it was, I don't know. I don't really know what else he was supposed to do in that situation. Because Deontay Johnson kind of like ducks underneath him and essentially runs into him. What do you want him to do in that situation? He didn't grab. He didn't pull. It was just a little bit of hand fighting. So I think it was a kind of a soft call. And there was a different call on the field that should have been called. That wouldn't have been a soft call. It would have been a very accurate call. So it's frustrating. But those things happen in the moment. And sometimes the refs can alter the path of a game, and I think they did on that play because that would have been a huge swing of momentum there. It's almost it's shades of Tyler Kroft, the Tyler Kroft interception, because that was a huge swing of momentum in that game. We almost lost that game. Yeah. So not a good call. The refs were smoking something that day. Did they call all of our penalties correctly? Yeah, we were holding that pretty much every time they called a hold. We were holding more times than that too, but they didn't really. I don't think they were calling an even game. I think there were some times when the Steelers could have got some calls as well that they weren't giving out. So yeah, not happy about it. And thank you for the comment. I just wanted to address it before we moved on here to my biggest surprise. And I'm gonna wait for it to pop up before I pull it up. How far into this am I? All right. My biggest surprise was it's not popping up at the top, but it's Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, I think he didn't play terrible. He didn't play terrible, and a lot of people are saying it reminded us of 2019 Josh, and I think that's That's a fair comparison there. Really, there's not even a lot of things that I'm going to be able to comment on for a couple of these. And that's this one right here is just, what's this throw? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on here. You can see in kind of his body language, even as he's letting the ball go, his shoulders are a little weird. I think he's just trying too hard, almost to an extent here. And it's just a bad throw. I mean, sure, no one's blocking Minka Fitzpatrick, but we would have got a first down. It's 3rd and 3. We probably would have got a first down on this one. So it's just little things like this that we just don't really expect to see from Josh that we saw, that we're kind of frustrated. He's frustrated with himself too.
Yeah, you can see at the moment he lets go of the ball.
Yeah, he knows as soon as he throws it that it's a bad throw, and it's like this is every quarterback's nightmare essentially, is to on like a screen pass or something easy like this, you just toss it in the dirt, and that's what he does. He had a couple errant throws in this game, and yeah, it was just disappointing. Honestly, to see it like that, and I'm hoping that it was just some week 1 jitters here. So, was there anything else that you wanted to comment on this one here?
I mean, he looks like he's a shortstop trying to turn 2 here. Like, I don't know what the mechanics are going on. Like, I've seen him make throws off platform, but like this is one where you're perfectly set up to make this throw. Like, you don't need to make it any more difficult than you have to. I don't know why he's fading so far backwards as he's making the throw. Like I said, turning 2, it looks like he's trying to avoid the guy sliding into him at second base. Like, you don't have to do that. Just stay on platform and make the throw.
It also looks like it's very hard to see. It's because I have this full screen. I can kind of pick it out. It looks like he tries to find the laces too. He on this while he's doing the play fake, it looks like he's trying to find the laces on the ball, and he finds them. But I will say sometimes it's just better to grip it and rip it on stuff like this. When you're in shotgun, if you just grab the ball and if you've thrown a football enough times in your life to be able to grab that football where you know you can get a spiral on it, or you at least know that you can get it out to your guy, you just grab it, you adjust your hand to the quickest position that it can be in to make a good throw, and you get it out there. So I don't know if that contributed at all or if it's just a complete body language thing, but he's pointing directly where he threw the ball. His body is, his shoulders, his foot, everything's going right to where the ball ends up. So he's able to make off platform throws, like you said, though. So it's a throw that he can make, and it's a little bit disappointing he wasn't able to. I'm going to pull up this super chat from Dylan here. On the play right before this, he had Singletary wide open for a guaranteed first down, but he chucked it downfield into a double covered Diggs. On the last play? I can't remember.
He might have been talking about like in the actual game itself.
In the game itself.
Yeah, I can't speak to that specifically, but I know for a fact last year and a handful of times in this game.
You mean this play? I don't know if you mean this play, Dylan, but the next play is very similar. Where he's got actually, I don't think the play that you're talking about is one that I included, but we've got Devin Singletary at the bottom of the field here, and he's ripping it, absolutely ripping it to Sanders for no reason. He's not open. I mean, he's got a decent amount of time in the pocket right here. Darrell Williams is not looking good in this freeze frame. But he has enough time to step up in the pocket and make a throw, and he's not throwing where he should be throwing. I mean, he's got Gabe Davis here. Sure, there's a guy here, but it doesn't matter. He maybe this would probably be the route that I would expect him to throw a little comeback right here, right on the sideline, right on the marker. And I think that's a completed catch because I think that's Diggs. And that's a play that these guys, that is Diggs. That's a play that these guys run all the time. Hit the sideline and get the first down to Diggs here. I understand it's first down and you might be wanting to take a shot, but like, that's not the shot to take, man. This is a really greedy play. If I freeze frame it right here, I don't know. This is not long before the ball left his hand, so I don't know what he was seeing where he thought that would be a good decision to throw into triple coverage to a guy that's 5'10". Just doesn't make any sense to me as to why he threw this ball, and especially knowing that he had at least one option that he could have thrown to, or run around. I mean, look at the. I mean, it's a little, you got a hat on a hat here at least, so maybe you got to dance around. He's got a guy falling down at least behind him, but there's green grass in front of you too. It's just, there were other options than to throw this ball. So that was another one of those things where it's just one of those, what are you doing, man? Oh, I put an extra play in here. Oops.
Okay, so we're a bunch.
Yeah. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, do you have anything else to say on this Sanders throw here?
I mean, it's the same thing that I talked about earlier. It's like he really only has two things to clean up from even his rookie season, and it's fumbles and taking what the defense gives you. And he doesn't take what the defense gives him enough.
Yeah.
Like, I understand he wants to make big plays, and he even talked about it in, I think, his post-game presser practice, something like that. He talked about it at the mic, and he said he tried to go for the shot play a little bit too much this game, and of course it came back to bite him. But I mean, really, at the end of the day, like, I know he was a Tom Brady fan growing up. Take a page out of Tom Brady's book. Be methodical with your offensive drives and just stay on schedule. Stay in front of the sticks. Like, you don't need to get 30 yards in one play and then just find yourself at 1st and 10 again. Like, you're still just gonna have to keep getting 10 yards at a time in 3 plays. So you might as well just get 4 at a time, like Tom Brady does. Like, it doesn't have to be like that every time, because we know this guy can make the 30-yard throw, but you don't have to do it every play. And I think, you know, when you have as much success as you did in the preseason and you only played 1 game, you don't get served that humble pie like I talked about early in the show. And I think it'll do wonders for this offense to have a game like this show Josh Allen that he's just got to take what the defense gives him, because there are plenty of little curl routes on this. Like you pointed out, Davis right there. You see whoever that is going to the bottom boundary to pick up Singletary. Leaves Davis wide open right there.
And Davis probably is just going to sit right in that gap.
Right. And then you show Diggs at the top side of the screen. There's multiple answers to this. He picks the risky one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just frustrating. And as much as I hate to say it, and I know Judge, if he sees this, is going to hate it.
Yeah.
This is arm arrogance. That's what it is. He thinks he thinks he can make this throw, even though it is not there, and he should not be doing it. He says, I can make this throw, and he does it anyway. That's the definition of arm arrogance, when he should be taking a much, much smarter play here.
No, it's facts. I don't think anyone wants to hear it, and I know Judge wants to hear it the least, but no, I mean, it is arm arrogance.
Here's another play. This is one where it's not huge, but he tries to go to a dump off short here to Beasley, but he's got hands in his face. He's got Hayward jumping up and down, so he pump fakes once, and then he decides to still try to throw it there, and it gets batted down when he's got other options there too. He doesn't have to try to throw through the dirty window. You see he pumps a little bit, gets Hayward up in the air, and he says, oh, I can just make this play now. And then he throws that ball to a very short Beasley. It's not like he can put the ball up any higher, because he can't, because Beasley's too short. But I mean, if you take a look at what else is going on around the field, there's a very clear lane for the ball to fly right to Devin Singletary, who no one is paying any attention to on the defense. Diggs too. I mean, there's the lane is the same thing on the other side of the field to Diggs. I don't know if he's got a defender on him or not. A little bit more than Singletary, but he didn't need to throw into that window there. And I get that that's not a huge deal, and it was kind of like, whatever. His guy was open. At least he was trying to throw to an open guy, but as soon as he pumped the ball too, the defenders are closing in on the guy that you're trying to throw to. So now that you've pumped to him, everyone knows where you want to go. So I think he should have maybe taken a second. I'm sure at this point he's like, I have no time. I have to get rid of this ball right now or I'm going to die. So because this was a little bit later in the game. So I get it. I get you want to get rid of the ball, but yeah.
It's just annoying how often I see you, Chevy. Like, how often Singletary's open, how often Moss is open, whoever it is playing the traditional running back role in this offense, and how many times they're split out wide and the defense just doesn't respect them at all. And because you see, this is the same coverage on the top side of the field as it is on the bottom side of the field. But because it's Diggs on the top side of the field, Joe Schobert is a lot closer to Diggs.
Right.
Cam Sutton on the bottom side of the field says, hell no, I'm not guarding Singletary. They never throw it to their backs when they're lined up out wide. So he drops deeper into his zone. He's not even on the screen. It's really infuriating to see almost like how obvious the blinders are for Josh Allen when it comes to checking down to his running backs. And I don't think it's like a scheme thing where it's just like, nah, you don't need to throw it to the running backs. The point is for them to be a decoy out here on this play. I don't think it's like that. I think it's just like he knows what he's got in Beasley. He trusts Beasley. There's a chemistry there. But, you know, once he goes back and he watches the tape, he's going to understand, like, he's just got to trust all his teammates.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then, you know, at some point it's recognizing the coverage thing. And, you know, I don't know if there's, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't intensely studied the Steelers defensive scheme. So I don't know if there's any tells of what this, if he could have known what this coverage was and that those corners were going to drop into deep thirds or not. But yeah, just disappointing there.
Yeah, for sure. You got another one?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I do. I think that was it.
All right, we'll move on.
One? No, it's the same one.
We'll move on to my favorite play. Let me get it loaded up. All right, so I'll talk about it before I pull it up, but we both really, really wanted to pull the Josh Allen toss to Gabe Davis where they had 12 guys on the field, but unfortunately the broadcast sucked for that play.
Yeah.
And they had a little picture-in-picture with a replay from the play before and then a little picture-in-picture of the live feed, so we couldn't pull that play. But, man, it was awesome to see Josh Allen make plays against a 12-man defense, so I thought it would be fun to pull that play, but unfortunately we couldn't really get a good view of it. So my next pick is, of course, the opening kickoff. And it's a shame it didn't go for a touchdown, man. But, boy, is this how you want to start a season. Like, I didn't even get to see this live. Unfortunately, I got to the TV late. But, like, once I heard that this happened, I was just so hyped for the team, the offense. I was hyped for McKenzie. I got to pull this back up now. Like, all the narratives about McKenzie this offseason, like, will he be able to be the return man? All of these things. And he just shuts the haters up on the first play of the game, his first opportunity. Great for him, huge for him. Bill's special teams just continuing to play well, obviously outside of the block punt. They really have taken a turn once they got Heath Farwell. I really got to say, like, the special teams unit has been spectacular since getting Heath Farwell in the building. So hats off to the special teams unit because they really have been playing better. I'm not going to make excuses on the block punt thing. That was bad, but man, what a tone setter for the game. It's a shame we couldn't get 7 off of this. If we did, that would have been massive. Or did we get 7 off the first?
Nope. No,
yeah, we got 3
and out. 3 and out into a field goal.
Yeah, So if we got 7 off of that, oh my God, amazing.
I was at the stadium and it was just electric. I was on this sideline and as he's running through and you see he's got space. I mean, that stadium just erupted, man. It was so loud. Everyone's jumping up and down, screaming, hoping that he can get into the end zone. I think he had an opportunity to get there if he cut back to where the punter was.
The sideline.
Yeah, if he put back to
right
the kicker instead of going to where
right there. If he cuts back to the sideline to the left shoulder of Klein, that's a touchdown.
Damn.
That's tough though. You like that's nitpicking. Like he just, what was that, a 76-yard return? Like, great return. Obviously we all want 7 there, but great return. Like, that's just awesome stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up Dylan's comment real quick here. Wow, I forgot how to speak there for a second. Dylan, don't want to keep hammering it, but if you guys want to see the play I was referencing, pull up the game highlights on YouTube and go to 313. You can keep hammering all you want, Dylan, as long if you're paying us $5 every time. I don't care. But thank you for the donation, man. And yeah, I mean, it happened a lot in that game where Singletary is just open in the flats and he's just hanging out, waiting for the ball to get thrown to him. And Josh just wants to go somewhere else with the ball, but I'm glad that Josh admitted that, yes, you know, I needed to take advantage of more of those things, and hopefully we can move on from it. But yeah, thank you, Dylan. All right, my favorite plays. There's an S in there. Okay, for me, my 2 favorite plays. The first one didn't count, so I put a second one in there. But it's virtually the same play. It's Josh Allen scrambling and breaking the ankles of the best defender on the field. So we're going to watch him, and we're going to enjoy it. First of all, how the hell he got out of the traffic in the pocket here. Because this was the one there was a penalty. I mean, Dion Dawkins is tackling Ingram here. So yeah. But yeah, so the fact that he's able to get out of the clutches here and kind of whip himself around, and I want to show it in slow motion because it's so good, and only because he's an amazing defender. And look at Josh Allen put Minkah Fitzpatrick on skates. He had to use a hand to keep himself on his feet there. Just really cool to watch, a big white dude juke out like the best athlete on the field. It's just really cool to see.
Yeah. Really, he really is the best athlete on the field, and we saw him pop multiple times on Sunday.
He's all over the place.
Yeah, to see Josh make him look silly like that out in open space, it really confirms all the feelings about how we all feel as fans about Josh as an athlete. I mean, he's an athlete.
Yeah, really, really good comment, Chevy. Thank you. But yeah, and I think people underestimate Josh's athleticism. The Miami Dolphins certainly seem to every time they play him. So hopefully we get to see a little bit of that this week. But yeah, the dude's an athlete, man. And when he sticks his foot in the ground, he's tricky. You don't know where he's going to go. So yeah, we're going to let this one play through and then go right on to the second one. And this next one actually counted this time. And it's a very similar situation that we got going on where it's 3rd and 8 now. And he just says, I'm going to take it myself. And he gets the first down. Dang it, I did it too.
VLC.
Yeah, I know, right? Jumping to the end. Okay, here we go. But yeah, and it's a very similar situation where it's Fitzpatrick again. That's coming down. He's almost in like a linebacker position, really. And he does virtually the same move on him. He just kind of squares his shoulders that way and then heads back outside. He's so quick, dude. I don't know how he finds that quickness in himself when he's that big, but yeah, truly just a massive athlete.
I was literally going to say it's like the same move. It's the same literally thing. The same move, just a little bit less of a hesitation on the second play.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm glad he did a little bit less of a hesitation. You kind of just want to get your momentum going towards the sticks on a 3rd and 8, just fall forward if need be. I'd like to think that he could drag Minkah Fitzpatrick 4 yards if he had to. So I'm very happy with the slight stutter versus what he did on the first one. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just a couple good plays there. It's good to know Josh still got it with his legs because we saw it a lot this game, but we hadn't seen it much toward the end of last season. So good to know that he still got it. And fool me once, shame on you. But Minkah Fitzpatrick, he gets the shame on this one.
Yeah, he sure does. All right, so just to help the loyal supporters, I pulled it up. I pulled it up. I had to look it up, and it's bad, Clay. It's really bad. Look at this. Look at him. There's absolutely no one.
Yeah. To be fair, it's a 2nd and 3. That's a shot. That's shot plays. Area.
Right. I'm okay with a shot play on 2nd and 3, but
in my opinion, I just don't think the throw is good. I think if he keeps it less toward the hash and more toward the sideline a little bit.
Oh my God.
This was actually a play that I thought about putting in my Josh surprised me in a negative way, where this was just not a good ball. He threw it way too far inside, which led him right into the safety, which made him not want to catch it. And I think Diggs could have still tried to catch this ball, but he would have taken a big lick and probably not actually caught it. So, I just think it was a bad pass. If he located it better, it was a touchdown in my opinion. So sad.
Yeah, it's a tough play for Diggs though if he leads him to the sideline because then he's got to switch over the other shoulder and stuff. But it's Diggs.
It's a tougher read, and it'd kind of be coming right over the top of his head, and that is a really tough catch to make. But that's your number 1 wide receiver, man. That's the guy that led the league in receptions and yards, right, last season.
Yep.
So that's the guy that you're throwing to. Give him a chance. You got to give him a chance to make that catch, even if it's a tough one. So, yeah.
And I think that's why, I mean, you see it here, Dawn comes in. Josh throws were off all day, either overthrown or they were too soft, slow rotation.
Yep.
I think that's why a lot of people like we got sugar high Josh, all that stuff. I think that's why people are saying that he just looked like 2019 Josh, because 2019 Josh was the guy that just couldn't hit any deep balls. He was overthrowing everything. You know, the fans in the stadium get him too juiced, all that stuff. And I think that's why people are kind of lazily saying we're back to 2019 Josh.
Yeah.
I understand how you could get there, but come on, guys. Let's not do that yet. It's one loss. It's not like the Steelers are awful. They've definitely regressed relative to what they've been in years past. But guys, like, just because the Bills went 13-3 last year does not mean we're going to go 15-2 this year.
Right.
That's not a guarantee. That's why you play the game every Sunday. You know, nothing's a guarantee. So yeah, I don't know. I understand the disappointment. Like, I think we both showed how disappointed we are in the team through this film session, but come on, guys, like, one bad performance does not tell you what the rest of the season is gonna behold.
Yeah, I agree. It's week one. Go rewatch. You know, for those of you who have Game Pass, watch the full game. For those of you who don't, go watch the highlights. Watch week one of last year. It was a different Josh Allen than we saw at the end of the season, and it felt kind of similar. You know, is it a lazy comparison? Yeah, kinda. For me to say that he played like he did week one last year, but I don't think it's that far off. We almost lost to the Jets. The Jets sucked last year.
It takes a while for offenses to get going.
Exactly. Yeah, offenses are always behind defenses, always, and we played a really good defense. Good defense. I'm not worried. I'm not worried because it's week one. I'm not worried because we know what Josh can do, and we know Josh's mindset in that he's not going to tolerate himself being mediocre. He's not going to let himself deal with that. He's going to do better. He's going to do everything he can to fix the problems that he's having. So it was week one for Josh Allen. It was week one for Brian Daboll. It was week one for the entire offensive line. And the utter nonsense, half a dozen darts, couple bad passes. Yeah. Look,
it's overreaction Sunday.
Yeah, no one is going to complete every pass. No one is going to win every game. Josh missed passes last year. Patrick Mahomes misses passes. Go Aaron Rodgers, who had one of the best QB seasons in the history of the NFL last season, played like shit in week one.
Looked like a stack of potatoes.
Yeah, seriously. It's not time to panic yet. They're not going to play many more defenses that are that good. They will play at least two that are that maybe three. Where I'm concerned
Saints
about the
defense is good.
front.
Bucks are good. We don't know about the Patriots so much yet.
But Washington football team was one that I'm worried about as well. Yep. Just because that their defensive front's pretty solid. But yeah, they're going to face a couple more tough defenses, but it's okay. We're fine. It's not time to hit the panic button yet. Let's wait and see how they play in week two. Josh, we're back week two in Miami, same as last year. Let's see if we can get a repeat kind of what Josh did last year. I would love to see that. He was really in a rhythm. So I think it has a lot to do with rhythm and momentum for him. If he can get in kind of a groove, then I think he can do fine.
100%. Let's hit up Jeffrey Danger's super chat. I think this hits the point home really well. Last year, Josh would have a bad game every once in a while, then rip it for the next 3 weeks. Yeah. Come on, guys. We all remember how that little lull in the season went when we played the Titans and the Chiefs, and people were kind of writing us off as, we went 4-0 and it was kind of lucky and all those things. Like, people have some lulls every now and again.
And then the Seahawks game came. And he absolutely killed it that game. So it's a week-to-week thing. I don't think we're a good matchup against the Steelers, against their defense, because frankly, statistically speaking, it was a very similar game for Josh Allen. The last 3 times they played against the Steelers, including this past game. So, it's not time to worry yet. And I'm hoping we get a nice bounce back. It was a good wake up call, and back to playing championship caliber football. It was a weird week one all around, man. A lot of weird things happened in week one.
Texans won a football.
Yeah, like Tyrod Taylor
Lions almost came back and
his
beat
mind
the 49.
out.
Everything. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a really crazy week one.
Glad to have it back though.
Yeah, I know. Somehow I stayed in both of my survival leagues. I picked the 49ers for both of them.
Same.
So I was sweating.
Biting my nails.
But we made it through. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. I've had enough of the Steelers game. I don't think I can watch any more of it. I've watched it about 6 times at this point. So I'm Steelers gamed out. I'm ready to watch a win next week so we can break that one down instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't agree more.
Before we get out of here, we always forget to do it, so let's not forget to do it. We're sponsored by NordVPN. You can go to thebfvpn.com and get yourself a massive discount on NordVPN. You get what it ended up being for you is $379 a month for 2 years. That's 70% off. It's like an $11 value on a month-to-month basis. So you're saving yourself a bunch of money if you use our discount at thebfvpn.com. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. You can make sure that you're safe and secure when you're browsing the internet. And something that I want to bring up that Rico very cleverly came up with here is, for those of you that are out of market, this NFL Sunday Ticket's a lot of money, and you don't even get all those games when you're in market. If you're in market, you don't get that game. It's a blackout for you for NFL Sunday Ticket. But if you get NordVPN, you can put yourself in a Canada VPN and get DAZN, which is much cheaper than NFL Sunday Ticket, and then you get all the games. So Rico, shout out to you for figuring this one out, man. That is brilliant. So for all those of you that are not in the Buffalo area, go get NordVPN and help yourself out so you can make sure that you're staying up to date on everything going on with the Buffalo Bills. For those of you that made it all the way to the end, thank you guys so much. We still have 82 people in here. I think we hit 100 at some point. So we appreciate everyone, the usuals, the new guys, everyone in the chat. We had a bunch of super chats today, so thank you everyone for that as well. Like I said, hopefully we get a win next week and it's a little more positive show next week.
Yeah. Hopefully it's tough to pick an LVP next week.
I don't want to pick an LVP next week. Let's
we could just wipe it off the board.
Let's throw that one out the window and talk about something else. Find a new category we can talk about instead. But yeah, thank you for everyone for sticking around. And until next time, go Bills.
Go Bills.